We'll be doing a deep dive on producing maple syrup, from start to finish. Our small team of 2 will take you through the snowy mountains of Vermont, where we have 400 trees, each individually tapped. The pressurized collection is sent through a sprawling system of tubes, then goes through our reverse osmosis machinery, where we speed up the sugaring process by X% and bring the 700 gallons of sap to a higher sugar content before boiling. We monitor the process intensely all the way through until we are finally able to filter and bottle. But what does this all boil down to? I'm Bob Rivers, and this is Sugaring in Vermont. Through X amount of years of trial and error, Hank and I have found the sweet spot. The winters are harsh, and the process often takes all night. But there's nothing sweeter than Vermont maple syrup. We'll show you how to collect, monitor, wash, filter, clean, boil, bottle, and what not to do. Join us as we share what we've learned the hard way in the hopes that we make the world sweeter, one sugar shack at a time.
I introduce you to David and Brian. David Carby is one of the smartest guys I know. We have a vacuum leak. It's a vacuum leak of an unknown origin, or do we know?
No, we know what it is.
Okay. So what happened this morning is it got cold real late last night, and a block of ice froze in here. And when that banged down to try, and these keep letting out sap, well, this got bent. And by the way, if I went to Bascom's Maple Farms to try and buy that part, bend the one you have or make one. Yeah. Vermont sugar makers don't go running for parts. Could be. How's that?
It's in the center valve. So I was looking for that clear lubricant.
It's the lubricant that I can pick up at Bascom's.
But I want to see it actuate, because the problem is now it fills up a drum.
Yes.
And then it starts pulling it up into the vacuum system, and you don't want that. There's a little spring in it will start buckling things. You don't want to do it. It wants to be just a nice smooth fit. It just wants to glide. If you over tighten it, then it starts buckling things back out.
That is tightened too much, because watch.
See, something's...
Yeah, but if that keeps going up, this dumps once by itself. The taps we use have check valves in them, so they only go one way when the vacuum pressure is on them. And that has a real benefit to the tree, by the way, because trees usually freeze up their tap holes after 5 or 6 weeks because they're trying to heal. But since these have check valves, the tree doesn't even know it's not healed. They go down a drop. The drop connects to a lateral, which is the smaller lines. The lateral goes to these main lines. And the vacuum pressure from this vacuum pump and releaser fool the trees into thinking the barometric pressure is different than it actually is, causing the trees to create more sap than you would get without vacuum. This little device here, when it's working right, pulls the sap in. When one container fills up, it quickly switches over to the others so the pressure is maintained, and it will fill up this 785-gallon tank, sometimes in 5 or 6 hours. We then pump the sap up to the barn. Oh, I think it's looking correct. I think it's actually looking like it's about to move.
Look at that. Oh, it is, yeah. There you go.
Moving?
Trying to.
Yep.
Come
teasing us.
It's right there. It's so close. There you go. Oh, there we go.
All right.
That fist bump you want.
I believe a bump and a high five. Thank you, Dave.
All right, we're back on track.
I think we're back in business.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you. All right. I'm Bob Rivers, and I'm here because I'm a hobbyholic. Hank does all the cold stuff. That was our agreement. I'm the old retired guy. He's the young guy in the woods. Problem is that agreement was 8 years ago. Now he needs a young guy. Maple syrup making is often a family affair, and the retired guy is the one who stays up late boiling because he doesn't have to set an alarm and go to work. And then the younger family members, you know, some of them are strong, some of them have a lot more energy, and they can do some of the hard stuff, maintaining the lines.
I'm Hank. I help Bob do the sugar in here, maple syrup. I do all the outside work. I will do it as long as I can do it here after this is done. I mean, I thought it was gonna be done when Bob, moved, but we were asked to keep going, but this will be the last place I do. I won't, once we're done here. And this could be forever. Who knows, So, I mean, I don't know how much longer I can do it, I'm getting older too. I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to hire somebody to come do the grunt work out in the woods.
Hire your own Hank.
Hire my own Hank, yep.
What is the first thing you'd have your own Hank do?
Pay attention. You gotta do it my way. There's certain things like tapping the trees, you gotta go, you gotta drill so deep, you gotta tap that spout in just right, you gotta listen to that different sound so it's set. It's just the way I was taught. So, and I'll carry it on the same way, because I think I was taught very well.
When you think about maple syrup, you very likely think about Vermont. Vermont is the biggest producer of maple syrup. Vermont even has a slightly sweeter, slightly higher standard for maple syrup. And it's part of the culture of the people in Vermont, and has been for generations, because there's this period called mud season where you can't get much else done, and we have so many dirt roads and they all turn to mud, and it's also this hardy nature of Vermont people. Most people in Vermont have, odd jobs, side jobs, hobbies. For anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 weeks, people drop everything else. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, they're all doing this thing with passion, and you can drive around Vermont and you see steam coming out of so many little shacks that it feels like if you live in Vermont, you have to have something to do with maple syrup. You asked me before, when does maple syrup season typically start? When it wants to is when it starts. I have security cameras set up because the entire system I can monitor and watch from my phone. During the pandemic, it was a one-man operation. What's the temperature? According to my watch, it's 38 degrees. Sap should be running. Let's look. That looks like sap. Might be up to about here. It looks like 300 or 400 gallons. So we'll definitely be boiling tonight. So this sugar bush, as it's called, is very big for a hobby and very small compared to anything commercial. We make about 200 gallons of syrup in a typical year. Less if the weather doesn't cooperate. More sometimes. Hank spent the day today out there trying to find leaks. And so there's the meter. We're at about 24 inches of mercury pressure, which is pretty good vacuum. Ideally, it would be more like 25. But as he goes along the tubing, you find these little chew marks where squirrels have said, there's something sweet in here. And so he has to replace pieces of tubing a little bit at a time to bring this number back up and make it all more efficient.
So we got a major leak somewhere. We're gonna find out which one. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut them all off. I'm gonna build the pressure back up. And then I'm gonna open one at a time. It should be up by 25, 26. Then we gotta go through the snow. We're at 26 now, so which one do you want me to open? You guys pick. We got tower, barn, upper, barn lower, long, or bands.
Let's go with tower first.
Let's go with the tower.
Yeah, I start back in October, walking the lines, and then December, January, I'll go and put the taps, the spouts on the drops, and I'll put caps on them so the weather doesn't get in it. And then when it's time to drill, you just go for it.
So what I do is sometimes I put my ear up to make sure there's no leaks.
What are you listening for?
Air.
Air?
See, something's going on here. There's a leak here somewhere.
How do you know?
See how the sap is jumping back and forth? Oh.
Mount Scottney. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. It also feels kind of spiritual in nature. It's got a lot of history. And so in the shadow of Mount Scottney, where I lived in my 20s and kept coming back to, and eventually we retired here, all of this cool stuff happens.
Ear to it. At all. See how they cut that pretty good. So yeah, I mean that's past 25. So we came up here for nothing.
The biggest thing is, this is my hobby. I do it the way I do it, and it doesn't bother me how other people do it. I don't listen to how people tell me how to do it. I was taught very well in the beginning. And yeah, of course, the new technology that took learning, Bob and I both learning, reading, studying, so. It's an addiction, and
You can hear the vacuum.
I don't know if I would have gotten into it knowing how busy it is doing this. It's time consuming, very much so. It's fun to me. Yeah, it's something to do this time of the year instead of sitting around the house. And like I said, it's the outcome. You know, watching it come out of the tree and going through all the process and coming out syrup. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, all right, tapping's done. You gotta babysit the lines. And like today, look what we did today. Chase leaks and it's still down. And you missed it. After you left, I found 2 taps that we didn't even put in the tree. So walking the line sometimes pays.
Step down. Ready? You want to try some?
Yeah. I've never tried this straight tap.
Hang on a minute. We gotta get some. There we go.
It's very lightly sweet.
There's no way to do this. There's no way to know it all because experience is the best teacher. So, yeah, I love the way it happened. I mean, when we first started, I was nervous to touch anything. I had no understanding of what anything did, nor did I get any lessons, actually. Just sat with Hank and a little bit at a time, figured stuff out.
Bob, see? Bob doesn't listen very well.
He didn't put it on?
No.
How are you?
Bob, how are you?
Good.
Good. How's that filter coming along?
How's oh, it's all set, and the finishing tank is heating up now.
No, the filter in the back. We're going to pump up the sap.
Well, oh, you're talking about, are you going to pump now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, before I left the barn, I said, Bob, will you get that filter put on and I'll start pumping.
Yeah, and I remember saying, let's put off pumping as long as possible so we have as much. But
Well, it's almost to the top, underneath the tray.
Okay, I'll put it on right now.
Okay.
Well, the RO gave us the biggest impact. In the back, the vacuum's about even. I mean, without the vacuum, we wouldn't have all this sap to run through the RO. You know, we wouldn't need that big of an RO, but we wouldn't get as much syrup. But I do know ours is good, so there's no question about it. Pumping up sap in the snow.
It's all up there, by the way.
It is.
It's currently at about a little over 9%. So when you added that in, it was up to almost 10. Now it's at 9. We let it run a little more, and we're ready to go.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Everybody probably feels the same way I do. Theirs are the best, you know? So.
Do you still feel that way even with an RO?
Yes. Yep. At first I didn't expect it to be like it is, but there's no difference. You know, we don't bring it up that high. So it still it's got its cooking time.
That's a pretty good amount of concentrate. That will take 2 to 3 hours to boil. Maybe a tad longer. I'm out of practice estimating. And then this is 200 gallons, 400 gallons, 600 gallons. We use this clear water to clean and rinse the reverse osmosis membranes after we're done concentrating the sap. So this water is important because it doesn't have anything in it. It's pure permeate water. My view on reverse osmosis is you got to use some of it or you can't make enough syrup. And you do save energy. Using a lot of reverse osmosis, you make a fine product and a best-selling product. But my view is what we do is a little more like a microbrew compared to Budweiser.
Do you feel like machinery has taken the artistry out of sugaring?
Machinery takes the artistry out of everything, including music. Remember when they invented the synthesizer and music was ruined because it wasn't a guitar? Oops, remember when they invented the guitar and it was a power amplifier? No. I think tech is wonderful. Of course, I've got video cameras all over the operation and I can run the whole thing. No, I love technology. I guess they made that clear. No, it's progress. But I do think that technology and I think it can be overdone and take some of the passion out of it. But at the end, you want to make the best thing you can and get it to the most people possible, you know, in any craft. I was going to call it a business, but it's a craft business. And again, it's a little bit like microbrews. It's a little bit like it's an artisan product. When I met Hank, when Lisa and I moved to Vermont, he was making maple syrup. And I thought, I don't want to do that. That's work, outside, cold, I will slip and fall. And it sounds expensive. And so I like Hank so much, and he had given us syrup over the years that I started helping. Now that I'm here, I'm not a quitter. I do remember that from the very beginning, the prime directive, if you will, don't burn the pan. And it was almost like that would be the mortal sin of maple sugar. I since met the people who built this property and who sugared for a long time. I met Ron, and Ron said there's only two kinds of sugarers: those who've burned a pan and liars. And so over the last 8 years, each one of us, Hank and I, have at one time. Oh, and I should point out there's two different kinds of burning the pan. There's burned it, but it cleaned up and it's fine. And then there's every other kind. You can destroy a pan if you're not looking at it, and you don't draw off the syrup or have enough sap in, and it gets too hot. You can literally have to start from scratch. Or you can just make, I call it unintentional maple candy. When we first started making syrup, i.e. when you said, come on, this will be fun, and I started doing it, this was my favorite part.
Bottling?
Putting it in a bottle.
When you got it in the bottle?
Yes. So when I first started doing this,
You saw it, wow.
I have the attention span of a gnat.
Yeah.
There's three aspects of doing syrup for me now. One is social aspect, having a bunch of people over, and just letting them all see how it's done. The other aspect is the buddy film, the two cops, me and Hank, who give each other shit all the time. But as a team, Hank spots stuff I miss, and I spot stuff he misses. But the third aspect of this, which I enjoyed and really got more than I needed during the pandemic, is because he has to get up at 4:30 for work in the morning. I'll frequently do the late shift for the last 3 hours. And that's when you get everything in balance and you're super present in the moment and you're just focused on one thing, making sure this all runs smoothly. And I always say to myself, in fact, I remember when I first started doing this, I'll read a book. I'll get some stuff done while I'm waiting. No. Every minute, there is something that needs your attention. If you're a small sugar maker that sells over the internet and sends stuff to people, that part of the process is actually quite personal and also gives you a sense of things we take for granted. Like when that Amazon box shows up at your house, people had to, take the stuff, put it in a box, put a label on it, had to go on a truck and had to ship and get to you. And anything you buy in the store, a producer, if it's vegetables, if it's any kind of food, someone picked that food, someone did all the work of making it so all you had to do was open it up and use it. And so that's the part of making maple syrup that has nothing to do with making maple syrup, but everything to do with understanding a little bit of how getting stuff to all of us, how it works.
Any other advice to the beginners out there?
Good luck and don't think big. That will get in trouble.
To all of you who have bypassed that cheap maple syrup and purchased some from us, thank you very much for your support. It is an honor to be a part of your breakfast table, and I hope we get to do it for years to come. Thanks.